Cancer malpractice cases can arise from any number of treatment scenarios, but over my 25 years of handling cancer malpractice cases, I have seen repeated conduct. For example, one area of cancer malpractice may involve the doctor's failure to order or perform imaging studies, such as X-rays or CT scans or MRIs to evaluate for the presence of cancer. Likewise, another type of cancer malpractice may involve the doctor's failure to order laboratory studies or to perform screening tests to evaluate for the presence of cancer. Another area of cancer malpractice cases may involve a pathologist or cytologist's failure to correctly interpret biopsy results that they're reviewing to identify if cancer is present. For example, a pathologist may review the biopsy material from a surgery and conclude that no cancer cells are present within the biopsied material. And then a few years goes by and the patient is ultimately diagnosed with very advanced cancer, and it's determined that the pathology material actually had cancer cells present and the pathologist incorrectly misread the pathology slides. That's an example of pathology malpractice. Another area of cancer malpractice may involve the radiologist's failure to correctly interpret an X-ray, a CAT scan, or an MRI. And time goes by and the patient is ultimately diagnosed by another physician as having very advanced cancer. And the physicians look at those initial imaging studies and conclude that there were clear signs and evidence of cancer being present on those imaging studies that the radiologist simply missed. Sometimes a doctor may fail to recommend appropriate monitoring or surveillance treatment to watch for a return or recurrence of the patient's cancer. For example, I had a case where a patient underwent surgery to remove a cancerous lesion, and the doctor did not recommend that the patient ever come back to undergo follow-up monitoring and surveillance testing, such as serial CAT scans over time, to watch for the return or recurrence of the patient's cancer. Several years went by and the patient was ultimately diagnosed with very advanced metastatic cancer that ultimately took his life. That's an example of the doctor's failure to recommend appropriate monitoring and surveillance to watch for the return or recurrence of a patient's initial cancer. As a result of any of these scenarios, the cancer may remain undiagnosed and spread until it's simply too late. Ultimately, the two most critical questions in any cancer malpractice case are: one, whether the patient's cancer should have been diagnosed earlier or sooner in time, and two, if an earlier diagnosis had occurred, would it have improved the patient's overall chance of survival and cure? If someone you love has died from cancer and you believe that there may have been a delay in diagnosing their cancer, or if you have suffered a serious injury as a result of a delay in diagnosing your own cancer, please call Matzus Law. We will investigate a claim on your behalf to determine if medical negligence caused a delay in your cancer diagnosis.